So find your place on your mat. Find a space that you feel most grounded, whether it's the feet planted in the earth or sit bones in the mat. Or maybe it's not a sense of physical grounding. Maybe it's coming to a mantra. That reminder, I am present. I'm here. I'm focused. So how do you feel grounded? How do you feel connected to the present moment? Power of thought, your prana, your breath work. So try to find your own way into that space. And every exhale, you are softening and settling a little further into your mat. If any outside noise comes into your practice, allow it to float by. It can come in and out. And then come back to that mantra. I am here. I am present. I am grounded. I am here in this moment. Whatever resonates with you. Maybe doing your own little check-in of the day and anything that was heavy, anything that you have been carrying with you, I want you to think about picking it up, placing it at the side of your mat, or maybe at your front door, or maybe it's something you don't need and you want to visualize tossing it into the garbage. And do your own internal checklist of what can you get rid of right now. Do a little bit of house cleaning. So something, if it didn't feel like it resonated with you today, set it aside. If there's knowledge in it, if there's teaching in it, then it will come back when it's necessary. And those thoughts that do feel heavy, maybe start to sigh it out or exhale it out, and knowing again, you're in the comfort of your own space. So if you want to cry it out, if you want to yell it out, there's no judgment and there's no one else there to hear it but yourself. So maybe that's the audible release for today. And in that grounding, in that moment, what is your mantra? Where did it take you? I'm here in the now. I am present. I am focused. I am listening. Take your thumb and your index finger together and then start to rub the thumb across that finger and feel that sensation. Try to focus on one thing at a time. So what does that sensation feel like? The skin touching skin. Maybe go a little further and start to have that awareness of the temperature. Have that awareness of your own skin, if there's any little bumps or dryness, focusing on one thing. And feeling into those sensations, then maybe moving your thumb to the next finger and doing that same connection. Taking gentle movements. Using this as your time to calm and connect. And as you move along to the next finger, play around there, discover, see if there's any variation, any changes. And then bringing it to that pinky and doing the same thing. Now start to follow that pattern backwards and forwards, tapping the thumb to each finger, bringing some coordination bringing sensation into the hands. If your mind has wandered, or if you started to judge your thoughts or judge spaces of the practice, then maybe that's the true teaching right now, that reminder of slowing down, that reminder of presence, being in the now. Now let's tap into our prana. Bring both hands to your belly, making a triangular shape so that the index fingers are touching and the thumbs are together. Feeling your belly rise with your inhale. Filling up like a balloon. Have that diaphragm support the lungs. And then exhale, draw your navel into your spine as if you're deflating that balloon. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, deflate it. Do that a few more times with your own breath rhythm. Feel the expansion, feel the ribs as well. Take up that space. And then feel that spine connect back in the mat, or navel connect into spine if you're seated. And notice those spaces where you start to find your edge, where you get a little uncomfortable. Maybe you're over forcing it or pressing through that inhale. Be gentle with it still. That diaphragm, we're still waking it up. We haven't used it in this capacity today. Our talking breath pattern is much different than our ujjayi breath or our pranayama that we connect with our asanas. So we're using that muscle a little differently. Feel that expansion. Take one more big inhale. On your exhale, side out. And then you decide what your prana is going to be today. In and out of the nose, ujjayi, or focusing on that audible release. And now shift your focus to the lower back. In that same breath pattern, try to keep the length of the inhale. Match it to the length of the exhale. And in that space with that low back, notice space created with your inhale. Notice the spine imprint the mat with your exhale. So working into that slight of the pelvic tilt forward and back, waking up those muscles. So think about drawing everything in and then slightly allowing everything to lift. So pubic bone presses up to the earth. Lumbar spine draws into the mat. And if it feels more comfortable, you can plant your feet into the earth if they're not already there, knees bent. And see if that feels more supportive when you create that space with that pelvic tilt forward and back. And this part of the practice should still be ease-filled, that you don't need a visual. So listening to my voice and listening to your own breath rhythm. So tilting forward and back, the sit bones are staying on the mat, they aren't lifting. And maybe take your feet a little bit wider than hip width distance this time, and then continue that motion forward and back. And every time you press your spine back into the earth, back into the mat, can you start to build a bit of tension? So activating that Muladhara, that root chakra now. See if you can squeeze everything in as you press the spine. So it's kind of that same sensation of when you really, really have to go to the bathroom and you're squeezing, you're holding it in. I want you to think of that sensation as you press your spine into the mat, draw everything in. And as you make space in that pelvic tilt, then you can soften. So play with that a few times. I know it sounds a little silly, but it's going to really warm up the lower back muscles here. And have that awareness connecting with the root. And then slightly take your feet back to that hip width distance. So we took it wider than hip width. Now I want you to bring the heels directly behind your thighs and walk your heels in towards your glutes. And let's add on here. So we're going to lift up to bridge pose. If you're not ready for bridge, you're going to continue with that pelvic tilt forward and back. If you are ready, press your heels, draw your navel to your spine, and then lift your sit bones off the mat. Hands can come by your sides, palms down, squeeze through your glutes, and then make it active through inner thigh. So squeeze an imaginary yoga block. Hold it there for one more breath and spread your toes and then replant them into the earth. And then feel that spine connection as you lower one vertebrae at a time back down to the mat. So instead of rushing through it, let's set up the same way. Think about pressing spine into the mat first. Press to your heels, inhale, lift the sit bones, squeeze the knees towards each other, squeeze inner thighs. So the knees aren't knocking in, there's still space between them, nice and active, press to your heels. Let's spread through the toes again. And then one vertebrae at a time, slowly lower back down into the earth. We're going to do that one more time. So make contact with the mat with the lower back. Press your spine back into the earth. Press your heels, draw your core in. Inhale, lift. Squeeze glutes, squeeze through the knees, squeeze the inner thighs. 2 more breaths. Spread through your toes. And exhale, slowly lower back down. Come back into that spine connection. Take both legs long to the top of your mat and take the heels wide towards the corners. Interlace your arms overhead and flip the palms so that the fingers are facing the back edge of your mat, and you'll start to notice that natural curve between the mat and the spine again. And then internally rotate, bring your big toes in towards each other. So if your feet started at neutral, internally rotate as if you want to bring those big toes to kiss and touch. Holding it there, you should start to feel all the way up inner thigh to outer glute. Let's take 4 breaths, big inhale, and exhale, side out. Inhale. Exhale, side out. Try to drop the shoulders down. 2 more. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more. Inhale. And exhale. Bring your feet back to neutral. And then keeping the feet wide, you're going to step them into the floor again. So feet are at the long edge of your mat. And then allow the knees to rest on top of each other. Tuck the toes in towards each other so that you're pigeon-toeing the feet. Release the hands, bring them to a T. So palms face up to the sky. Shoulder blades press into the floor. And again, that space is created between lower back and the mat. So knees are resting on top of each other and toes are fanned in towards each other. So that same internal rotation, except now the knees bent. We'll stay this time for a little longer. You can close your eyes if you like. Use Ujjayi breath or side up through the mouth. If you are tensing up in the lower back, can you soften that area? Take one more breath here. And then bring your knees back away from each other, heel toe your feet together. Draw your right knee up into your chest. Take your hand to the outside of your knee or your thigh to support. Opposite hand is going to grab the edge of the foot or the sole of the foot. So you're going to cradle your leg, hug your knee into your chest, and then take a little rock of that hip from side to side. And if you don't have the ability to reach for the leg today, you can always place a pillow under your head to bring yourself closer to your knee, or grab a pant leg, or use a strap or a tea towel from home. So instead of just drawing the knee in with hands around the shin, I want you to feel that variation here of drawing that heel towards the opposite hip, cradling the leg, rocking from side to side, working more into that glute and top of the quad. What can you adjust so that the shoulders stay on the mat? Now that we've warmed up our lower back, make sure we haven't lost that connection. So still think about drawing your navel to the spine. Lower back presses into the mat. And then once you've completed that rocking side to side, hug your calf a little closer into your chest. If you have the availability to go to a bind, you could bring the foot to the crease of the elbow and hug it in and lift your head off the mat. If you don't have that ability for the bind, grab the base of the foot again, keep holding outside the knee. Can you lift your head off the mat and bringing your nose towards your calf, but still keeping that neck nice and long? So build that tension. Let's take 4 breaths. Hug it in. Gaze up towards the sky. Lower your head and shoulders back to the mat first. Still stay on that right side. Lengthen your leg up. Point and flex through the foot a few times. Allow that foot to come back to the earth. Take inhale, reach the arms overhead, reset. Exhale, draw your left knee into your chest, grab the base of the foot. Left hand's gonna support the outside of the thigh or the knee. Right hand's gonna support the foot. Let's do that rock, that cradle again, side to side, and then think about pressing your lower back into the mat again. Where has the tension built? So if it's moved its way up to the jaw or the neck, I want you to soften those spaces, open up through the mouth. And rocking from side to side. And then let's bring that knee closer into our chest. Maybe coming into that bind again. Lifting your head off, maybe finding that foot to the crease of the elbow. Not every side is equal. This side's a bit challenging for me. It's hugging the knee in, lift your head off the mat, nose towards your calf. Let's hold for 4 breaths if it's available. Otherwise, you're just hugging that leg in. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. And one more inhale. And exhale, release, lower your head and shoulders back down, and then lower that foot back, or sorry, lengthen that leg up to the sky. Point and flex your foot a few times. See, I almost let you get away with not doing this on the other side. Glad my brain was working a little bit today. Draw both knees into your chest, come into happy baby. So again, using a strap if you need, or you're gonna bring the hands to the inside of your thighs, reach the outside of the feet. That's not available, you can grab pant leg, calf, or the back of the thighs and hug your knees nice and wide towards your armpits. If you find that your head is lifting off because you can't reach, then I'd rather you come to one of those variations and walk the hands down so that we're not putting stress in the upper body. Let's see if we can hold here again in our happy baby. You also have the option to do one leg at a time if you want. So one knee towards armpit and hold. We're gonna hold this for 2 rounds. So a couple breaths here. Knees wide towards your armpits or towards the top of the ribs. Flexion through your feet like you're holding something up towards the sky. So toes towards shin and dorsiflexion. Then think about that lower back again, pressing into the mat. So that's gonna build a bit of heat and tension. And then I want you to soften that space and let go. Do that one more time. Draw that lower spine in, build a bit of tension, press your shoulder blades, and then make a bit of space to release. Let's lower the feet down. We're gonna reset, and then we'll come into our second round of happy baby. Windshield your knees from side to side. Windshield wiper your knees. Okay, so if you're doing half happy baby, so on one side, this is your opportunity to switch legs. If you're doing the full expression, bring both knees back up towards your chest. Remember, you can always modify hands behind the thighs or grab the edges of the feet. Press your shoulder blades, and this time can you add a gentle rock side to side, and if you're doing half happy baby, just repeat what you did on the other side. If it's available, sacral massage, rock side to side. And then let's lower the feet back down to the earth. Take your arms up to a T, windshield wiper your knees side to side. And then allow the knees to fall all the way to one side as you roll into that fetal position. Make your way upright. And let's meet in our staff pose. So both legs are going to come long into our Patashanasana. Going to slightly bend through your knees. So micro bend through your knees, flexion through your feet. Sit up tall from your tailbone, back up towards your crown, hinging from your hips. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, into that forward fold so you can release the lower back and shoulders down. Find space at the front of the chest, so lift through your sternum, and then draw your chest towards your thighs. Allow hands to rest wherever they meet, whether it's on the toes, on the shins, or the upper thighs. Inhale, find length. Exhale, forward fold. One more time like that. Inhale. Find that length. And exhale. And then allow the head to drop between your biceps. Maybe look to the space between the knees and gently rock the head side to side. As you roll out of your staff pose, bring your right knee with you, and then bring the sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Or your next option is to come into your half lotus and see if you can cross your ankle over thigh instead. If you have a block available, you can place it underneath your knee for support or just reminding you to work that knee towards the earth. If you can't cross the ankle over, that's okay. You're starting with that first version with the foot to the inner thigh. Otherwise, ankle crosses over, it's above that knee, but make sure there's no tension in the knee. So I'm placing my block there just to remind it. Square your hips up towards the top of your mat so that you're not leaning onto one side. And let's add that forward fold back in. So inhale, find length. Exhale, forward fold, and maybe start to extend the arms towards that left leg. Keep the head, chest open, head above heart. Stay here and shift that attention from your yang approach. Can you bring more of a yin approach? So the areas that you're tensing up, try to soften there now. So I'm tensing up right now, right into my hamstrings. This is getting a little uncomfortable with that ankle cross. What can I soften? It might even mean relaxing the foot and pointing the toes or just fully softening that foot. Let's take 3 more breaths. One more. Move the block if you're using it. As you roll out of that fold, lengthen your leg. Take a wider forward fold this time. So come into your straddle, knees bent. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. And rolling out of it, reset to staff pose. Draw left knee into chest. Decide if that foot's coming to inner thigh or half lotus, crossing ankle over. Moving your block to the other knee if you're using it. And then readjust the hips again. So square the hips up, find length through the spine, drawing that knee towards block. Start with flexion in the foot. Inhale, find length. Exhale, forward fold, and then maybe reach the arms or let them rest wherever they do on this side. So the first few breaths, we're finding that bit of tension, that edge, flexion through your foot. Try to press that knee to the earth and then come into your yin expression. So soften that foot now. Maybe allow the toes to relax, point through them. 2 more breaths. If you feel the need to stay longer, feel free to do so. Sometimes as yoga teachers forget how long to stay on each side, so roll out of it. Uncross that ankle, come back to your straddle, knees bent. Inhale, arms up. Exhale into your forward fold. Let's roll all the way out of it, bring both legs back together, and then sweep your legs to a tabletop. So meet a table. Start to bring knees underneath your hips, hands on your shoulders. If you want, you can come through down dog and walk it out, or everyone's just going to meet at the top of their mat to standing forward fold. In your forward fold, find length, halfway lift, Adho Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. Let's do that again. Inhale, find length. Send your sit bones to the back edge of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. One more time like that. Inhale, find length. Exhale, forward fold. Bend through your knees, round through your spine, come all the way up to standing. Inhale, sweep the arms up, and exhale, our hands to heart. Meet facing the long edge of your mat, so I'm going to step back with my right foot. My toes are going to slightly fan out on an angle. From here, you're going to interlace your arms to Kali overhead so that my index fingers are touching. Relax through the shoulders or drop the shoulders. Again, slightly pointing through the toes, slight bend through the knees. With your torso, twist towards the right, and then reach towards the outside of that ankle. Find length through the arms again. In your Kali Mudra, nice and strong. Instead of pressing off with the feet, bring your focus back to core. Draw your navel in, lift back up to center. Relax the shoulders, switch thumbs, non-dominant thumb on top. Twist through that torso to the left, and then reach the outside of that ankle. If there's any locking in the SI, be mindful of your lower back. Bring your focus back to your core. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, release the hands. Give yourself a little rest here in the shoulders. Shrug it back. Okay, adding some variation to that. Inhale, look up. Interlace your hands, Kali. Drop your shoulders. This time, lean towards the right. Feel length through the left side. Core is on. Inhale, lift. Relax shoulders, switch thumbs, non-dominant thumb on top. Exhale, lean towards the other side. So that bicep is still framing your cheek. Draw the core in. Inhale, lift. This time, exhale, take it to a midway forward fold. Take your arms out, bend into your knees, find that edge. And then exhale, find your hands all the way to the earth. Inhale, find length, bring your hands to your knees or your thighs. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, find length, take your arms back out to airplane, draw your core in, arms extend, find that edge, get a little uncomfortable so you can truly appreciate the calm, put your weight through your heels. One more. Exhale, lower your hands to the earth, slightly bend into your knees. We're going to repeat that. Inhale, find length. Take your arms out, hold. Think about tucking that or tipping that pelvis forward, sorry. So we won't want to lose that connection we did with the pelvic work today. One more breath. Lower the hands back down, like you're going to scoop something up. Last time, inhale, find length, take the arms out, lean a little forward, press your weight into heels. Those hamstrings are probably on fire right now. Protect lower back. Keep drawing navel in as if you're balancing something on that lower spine. Take one more breath. Find that edge. Get uncomfortable. And exhale. Appreciate that calm. Appreciate the ease. Drop the head down again. A little no. No, thank you. I don't want to do that again. I'm just going to laugh at my own sad jokes right now because I can't hear you back. And then bend into your knees, walk your hands up your thighs as if you're coming into horse stance, but we'll walk the hands all the way up. From here, you're going to pivot your right set of toes and then line up your left foot with the short edge of your mat. So I just want to make sure I'm still on camera, so I've come off my mat completely. My right knee is going to bend, Virabhadrasana B, arms extend. Inhale, arms overhead. Interlace them. Pivot with your chest again, lean forward to the outside of that thigh. We did this earlier from that fold. Reach, reach, reach. Keep sending your sit bones that back heel. Exhale, soften your hands to frame your front foot as a reset. Draw your core on. Inhale, lift up, interlace the hands, reach towards the right edge of your mat. And exhale, soften. So knee stays above ankle. We're going to do that one more time. Weight into front thigh. Inhale, interlace the hands, find a bit of height. And exhale. Lower the hands and then walk to the other edge of your mat. So you're going to bring the right foot to face the short edge, left set of toes, going to face the top edge of your mat, bend into that knee, windmill your arms up, Virabhadrasana B. Inhale, arms overhead, interlace the hands, relax the shoulders, twist with that chest again, reach over top of that thigh. Get a little uncomfortable, press through both heels, weight into front thigh, and then soften, lower your hands down to frame that foot. Inhale, growing a little taller, lift up, interlace these hands to Kali, strong goddess pose. Strong goddess mudra for the hands, and soften. I think we had one more. Inhale, lift up, interlace the arms, reach, reach, reach. Shoulders back into their natural place, head between biceps, find that edge, get uncomfortable. And exhale. Pivot the toes back to face the long edge of your mat. Come into that wide forward fold, release the lower back. Slightly bend through your knees, maybe walk your hands out in front. And then heel toe your feet together, and you'll be grateful that the standing portion is over. Make your way back to table, back to top of your mat, and take a rest in Balasana. Knees wide, big toes together. Send your sit bones over top of your heels. Reach your arms out to child's pose so you can lengthen the spine. Know that you can stay here as long as you need. As you roll up to your tabletop, stay longer if you want to in child's pose. From table, make your way onto your belly. We're going to start in a variation of our cobra. You're going to bring your hands, your forearms to stack at the top of your mat. So I've gone from placing my elbow, bending it in, placing my other arm on top. I'll even show you from the front. Arms on top of each other, coming into a modified Sphinx or modified cobra. Toes are unactive, so untuck your toes. Allow them to be soft. Press your hip bones to the earth. Lift through your head and your heart. Press your elbows. Find that yang again in your practice. So working on detoxifying the core, giving that belly a little bit of work, getting everything moving there. Take 2 more breaths. And then lower your head down, maybe stack the fists on top of each other as you lower the head, or palms on top of each other. Take a little reset. Now as you lift the head back up, can we come into full Sphinx now? Palms press into the earth, elbows under shoulders. Start with pressing the palms as if you're pulling your mat towards you, lifting your head above your heart. Press your elbows, find that yang again. If this is too much for your lower back, you can repeat what we just did or take a rest in child's. And I shouldn't say that child's is always a rest because it always teaches me something new. So maybe child's is not a rest for you, but you do want to work there. Honor where you're at in your practice. Take 4 more breaths in Sphinx. Start with that activeness again. Press, press, press to your palms, shoulders down. One more. And release, take your arms out to a T, bring the right cheek down for a rest. Allow your shoulders to roll forward. Bring your head back to center. We're going to repeat Sphinx one more time. Bring hands back under shoulders to start. Then bring elbows where those hands were. And this time I want you to take your elbows further to the top of your mat. So last one was a bit more active in Sphinx as our elbows were directly under our shoulders. Let's make it more passive. Take elbows in front, so walk them in front. So more of your belly, more of the chest wanting to come to the earth. My chest is still lifted, but more of my torso is making contact. You can have your palms flared out, so your fingers flared out, or interlace the hands, or just soften the hands. I don't want it as active this time. So come more through that yin variation of our Sphinx pose. Head still above heart. Notice if it wants to tuck down, try to keep it lifted. Roll the shoulders back, and then find that space of softness. Maybe closing your eyes. Even though we're pressing the hip bones forward, try not to tense up in the glutes for this round. Do your own body scan. Maybe if you're holding a fist, open the palms again. If your shoulders are tired, you can always come to that first variation. A few more breaths here. And release. Take your arms out. T, left cheek to the earth this time. Shoulders roll forward. Draw your hands underneath your shoulders. Press yourself back to child's pose or down dog. Take a rest. And then we will roll up to table and then come to a seated posture again. One more from seated for our lower back, so that was our focus this evening. Coming into a variation of butterfly, we're gonna call it turtle for this one. So soles of feet together, knees are open wide again. You can either come into butterfly bound angle, take your peace fingers around your big toes, sit up tall through the spine, and then hinge from your hips and lean forward. That's gonna work a bit more into inner thigh and glute. If you want more for that lower back, similar to that forward fold, I'm going to show you actually from the front first, and then I'll go back to side. Take your hands underneath your ankles, so palms are facing up, drawing your chest in towards your heels. So you're going to find that length through the spine. The knees are going to still press towards the long edge of your mat. So thinking like that turtle shell. Even if the shoulders want to roll forward, keep pressing them back so that your elbows are pressing into inner thighs and knees are pressing to the earth. Find length in that spine. Using Ujjayi breath again, whether you're in bound angle, your butterfly, or your turtle. And let's roll ourselves out of it. Bring both knees together, come into rabbit pose, tucking chin down to chest, forehead to knees, release the back of the neck. Reconnect with your intention or your mantra for practice today. And then lift your head back up to center. You can either come onto your spine from Navasana with a bit of core work or just come right to your lower back, and we'll finish with supine twist. If you want to work on core, draw your navel in, lift through your heart, take your arms overhead, heels can stay to the earth, and we can slowly lower down for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Extend the arms overhead to your corpse pose. And then draw your left knee into your chest. Right leg is long. Coming into supine. Bring that knee across to the opposite edge of your mat. If you have a bolster or a block or any other props that you want to use, you can place it as a guide underneath that knee. The knee doesn't need to make contact with the floor because when mine does, my shoulder wants to lift off. So I'm going to press my left shoulder blade into the mat. I'm going to guide my knee there and allow my foot just to rest wherever it reaches today. And then allow that to be a bit more restorative, opening up the palms to the sky. Let's bring that knee back to the chest. Lengthen that leg to the top of your mat. Draw the opposite knee in. Let's drag it across to the long edge of your mat. Right shoulder blade is going to press into the floor this time. Arms open again to a T. Hand can be there to support the knee. We're placing that block or bolster or pillow underneath. Let's still keep the head neutral like we did on the other side, or you can always look away from the knee. It's probably going to feel most comfortable with the head at center. Closing the eyes again. You can bring that knee back into your chest. Find length through both legs. Maybe take one final full body stretch, reaching the arms overhead, pointing through your toes. Feel length through the front of the body. And then stop and allow your hands to rest by your sides and back to that T. Come into your final expression of your practice, into Shavasana. Closing the eyes, making your way back into that sense of grounding into the mat. Being proud of your practice, continuing to meet yourself where you are at. I encourage you to stay longer here. I will close practice, but please feel free to stay on your mat as long as you need. Bringing palms to third eye, Anja chakra for our intuition. To our mouth and our throat, Vishuddha for speaking our truth and being candid with our words. To our heart, Anahata for community connection. Thank you all for your kindness. Thank you for being part of this space. Put a little love in your heart. Happy rest of your evening. Namaste.